Hi everyone. So this is Aragoda again, back here for round 2 of GeoGuessr in California, in which I will continue to figure out, hopefully well, where I am, and to keep thinking about things as well. So I'm recording this immediately after the last video that I did, um, in part because it just feels right. I don't know. It feels like I should keep going, and I don't know what that means. Other than I feel like I feel like I'm stuck. I'm working on a few papers, and some of them are more immediately developed than others. But some of the longer term issues and questions that I have center around this kind of difficulty in grasping the sentimental loss uh, that roots us and compels us to explore these different geographical contexts as they pertain to us. Mountain View Avenue. So maybe this is the Bay Area. Mountain View Avenue it's a southeast bearing road. So maybe it's San Mateo County. There's Mountain View right here. Yeah, so, and I guess there's another thought here that's coming to my mind, which I'm just going to sort of like talk about, and we'll see if it actually means anything. But there's a German philosopher named Martin Heidegger uh, who wrote a book called Being and Time, which lays out his conception of what is the fundamental mode of being, which is something that's intuitively known to many people. That's constituted by the everyday awareness that if you say a phrase like "this is a book," you can conceptualize of what it means for you to say "is," to identify the book as being, uh, without while understanding that this is something that is also of a different kind than saying that something is a book with this sort of discrete property with different categories that can allow you to constrain and identify it. But for something to be, for being itself, that is something that is deeper, that is tied more fundamentally to conscious thought, um, in the very structure of conscious thought itself, for us to know what it means for something to be, to say something is. And there's a lot of details in there that aren't relevant. The thing that's to necessarily what I'm thinking here right now, but one of the side effects of Heidegger's whole project is that I'm going to keep going down Mountain View Avenue to the northwest to see if we find something. Uh, One of the things that constitutes Martin Heidegger's whole project is the sense that when we understand things in the world as we see them, things that make us anxious, things that concern us, or things that we care about, these are all features of existence that constitute and reorganize everything about the way that we experience the world. So in two philosophical terms, he distinguishes these terms, ontological and ontic. And the ontic are the categories in which we tend to perceive and understand things that exist inside the world. But the ontological, and to Heidegger at least, talks about, well, all right, so we have these categories. We could say this is a house. We could say the sky is blue. But what does it mean? What does it mean for the sky to be? Questions like that, of a fundamentally different kind from the questions of what the sky, of identifying the sky as a certain feature. That is what Heidegger calls ontological. That's what he considers more fundamental than the sort of smokescreen of thought that, to consider the ontic as fundamental. Oh, there's a name there. To consider the Yorba Linda. Oh my God. Okay, I was wrong. Yorba Linda is the birthplace of former President Richard Nixon, and it's down in this area. Yorba Linda, Whittier, La Habra, Placentia, Yorba Linda. There's Kellogg. So we were on Kellogg, and we took Kellogg to its intersection with not one of the big roads that bound it. Okay, we were on Old Ranch and Stonehenge. Stonehenge, we're in this area. So yeah, the thing is like, so the point here though is this being, which he calls Dasein, this relation that we have to the world that reconfigures the ways that we understand and perceive the world, that we understand things to be. We're one house away to the east of this intersection, which is the intersection of Old Ranch. Okay. So we're here. Okay. All right, so this is probably the Central Valley. Oh, dust storm in the back, maybe. Yeah, you can see all that. Yeah. So the thing is, in relation to what it means to be in a place, to be from a place, one of the things that that interests me about Heidegger is he introduces this concept of, it's translated into English in like this really dumb, well, Heidegger writes in a really like dumb and difficult to understand way, although I don't think he's intentionally writing to be confusing, but it's translated, the thing that's interesting here is what is translated often as the they, das Man. So, if Dasein, if the ways that we relate to the world in order to contextualize it, to understand what emerges as important and is immediately apparent to us as we navigate the world, things that concern us and things that cause us anxiety and things that are of interest, things that we take care of. Like these are the things that reconfigure, this is what Dasein can be. These are the things that constitute and configure the ways that we understand our place in the world. It's very easy for Dasein in Heidegger to have this impulse to throw all of the things that it personally acknowledges about the world to the wayside, and to accept the priorities of das Man, of the they. In that sense, Dasein is keen. We, as we understand the world, are keen to forget the fact that we are individuated. We are distinguished from other people in the world, and other things and other priorities by virtue of the fact that we are, it's just a natural impulse to forget that we are our own people. And we see it in so many cases, wow, donuts. We see it in so many cases where, for instance, if you're someone who grows up in a family where your parents insist that you go to college, but you don't have a reason to go to college. You just know that you need to go to college, or say that you have a test that you need to take in school, and you're like, oh no, God, what if I fail the test? It's like, yeah, I mean, what happens if you fail the test? If you fail the test, what, are you going to die? No, you won't. So this is what Heidegger calls Angst, anxiety, in that it's not fear, because when you are afraid of something. But when you experience what Heidegger calls angst, anxiety, there is no object of that fear. It's about nothing. And when you ponder the fact that it's about nothing, you start to realize that, the fact that it's about nothing undermines the whole reality that this is something that you have to be worried about at all. You could stand up in a class and just walk right outside and never come back and fail the class. And what will happen? Nothing. I mean, things will happen, sure, but you're not going to die. That realization that, as Heidegger says, no one can die your own death for you. You alone are responsible for the immense consequence of the decisions that fall before your feet. And you have to have reasons for them that are other than what people give you. If you forget, if you fall in with the they, das Man, what you discover about yourself is that, what you start to think about yourself is that you are the priorities and the fears and the concerns and the cares of other people. You are the Dasein of other people, but you aren't. And the moment when you realize that the stakes that other people set for you are not real, you have nothing left to fall back on. And that feeling, that's what Heidegger calls anxiety. So the only way forward that I understand in such a context is you realize that you realize that you have to be the one to decide what it means to be you. That since it cannot be accorded to you in any permanent and substantive way, you have to decide the ways in which your experience comports with the world, what your objectives are, your goals, your anxieties, your concerns, your hopes. At least, that's my understanding. And in some respects, I feel like this kind of attunement to place intersects with this somehow, right? I mean, like we may be advised that there's a kind of venerated feeling that different places can have before us. So an example that I've used in a previous video is if you go to Paris and you walk into Notre Dame, the cathedral, the feeling that you get, excuse me, the feeling that you get, like, is such that you unconsciously or subconsciously, I guess, will step back. Man, I'm just turning around and going back and forth on this road because I feel like I'm on a well, it feels like I'm on a roll with whatever thought that I kind of locked into in my head here. Anyway, oh man, I lost it. I lost the thread. um, yeah. So Notre Dame. That's right. So if you go to Notre Dame, you may hush your voice. You're not going to yell, right? And the reason you may hush your voice is because you palpably sense a change in like the affective expectations that have been put on you. You're supposed to feel certain kinds of things, and because you feel them, uh, you react to this social milieu that has been imposed upon you in a way that causes you to conform to it. And I'm not saying that you should, like, I don't know, like strip down, get naked, and yell in the middle of this like tourist attraction cathedral to demonstrate your individuality from it. But I do think that there's something. Man, I'm not seeing any evidence as to what this place is. Anyway, but it doesn't change the fact that like there should be a trigger point here that leads you to wonder, well, but what is it that really is causing me to reflect on a place like this? Um, like, why am I feeling this way? Is this really me feeling the way that I'm feeling right now? Or am I letting the world, am I letting Dasman sweep me aside and dictate to me the terms of what places mean to me? And I think this is something that I do wonder about. Uh, there's this dialogue. I recently gave I was recently at a workshop in that came out of one of my courses, and even an area code or anything. 559. All right, that helps. So 559 is down here, which makes sense. I feel like I feel like there aren't many places in like the big city where you would expect people to fly Trump flags, um, in California at least. So yeah, 559 is this region, as I recall, which doesn't actually help much because that region is still quite big, but it's maybe in the vicinity of Bakersfield. If it takes too long, we're already 13 minutes in and we're only on our second one. I'm just going to drop something close to Bakersfield. Yeah, for what places mean to us. Uh, because in some respects, I mean, I think that this irrepressible urge to be told who we are is something that Heidegger's very, very right about. And it's an insidious feeling. Uh, it's insidious because we don't know. I mean, definitionally, what insidious means is we don't like know that it's happening until it happens. We don't know that it's in place until it is already there. And it's not something that's a positive feature, I think, of what it means to be a person in the world. But at the same time, these like such places are also shared. They're socially, yeah, okay, whatever. Bakersfield. Yeah, okay, fine. Fresno, whatever. Okay, yeah, there was no way. there was there was no way I was gonna find that. That's okay. So this is this is off of 99, Selma, Fowler, south of Fresno. So, I mean, I've driven on 99 here and passed through this area. But yeah, you know, maybe I've even stopped at that gas station. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. Um, San Diego. San Diego. You have the convention center here. That's the skyline, and over here you have the bridge to Coronado. I've spent time in that convention center actually with a couple friends. So south, east to the bridge, which would imply that we are, no, we're not on Coronado. We're probably over here somewhere. Okay, so this direction towards the convention center. Convention center's over here by Petco Park. So the convention center is due east, which means that we're here somewhere. If the convention center is due east. Yeah, in this region. Bayview Park. Sure. Oh no! This is what happens when you're not careful. Okay. Yeah, all right. You know, the sidewalk wasn't really in play the same way that it was. Uh, like, I mean, obviously, that sidewalk didn't look the way I thought it was gonna look. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, there's actually a guy there. I went to that area by the beachfront, and he could stack these rocks on top of each other, and they're like these round rocks. Rishi was the method that he was using, sort of channeling this sort of internal energy. This was at least his claim that allowed him to find the sort of gravitational center of each rock and to pile up these like insane rocks on top of each other that were just impossible to pile up. So yeah, but I remember I went down to the harbor in San Diego with a few of my friends, and I remember being able to just we saw so many things. We had like I think we had cotton candy, and we watched big old ships come in and out of the harbor over the sunset as the sun set over the promenade. And one of the ships I think was I think it was called the USS Los Angeles. It was like a big warship. Northern California 916. 916 is the Sacramento area. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so I guess maybe the only conclusion I can take away from all the stuff that I'm just saying is that, what can places mean to you? Uh, Whatever you say they mean, I guess. And I'm pushing back against the what feels to me like an analytic expression of, oh yeah, this is Sac for sure, Walerga. I this is the road that if you're in Placer County, you take this road down to cut past to Route 99 to get to the airport. Walerga's here. So Walerga and what? Yeah, I always thought I always read it as Waterga from from Final Fantasy, or like some combination of Waterga and Walmart, I guess. Yeah, this would be the intersection that you would take to get down to the airport. Just and work your way over. Walerga. Anyway, Walerga. Walerga and can I get it like maybe I can get a city name. Maybe I'll look out. North Highlands. Okay. North Highlands is over here. Walerga. So there's Watt. Here's Walerga. Elkhorn, Antelope, Don Julio, Hillsdale. Well, we're going straight north-south, I think, on Walerga. Yep, we are. So we're not on the south end. There's the loop. What's this road? Singing Tree Way. Yeah. The way that places individuate you and your interaction relation with them is something that emerges. I think. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Heidegger in that sense, where uh, in some respects, the places that constitute and conform to who you are and what you become are not things that can be decided by anybody else. At least in a private sense. In a public sense, there's an unavoidable element of being that's caught up in that. But it's not absolute, and perhaps it's not even the most important thing. We alone are contingent on these pieces of what we are and where we come from, and why that is, even though we may not necessarily have the agency to handle that. Okay, let's find another road here, because I'm having apparently so much trouble. So this is Kirkby. Why is it so hard to find this intersection? Kima, Don Julio, Blackjack. Elkhorn, nope. Galbraith, Bainbridge, Holworthy, Antelope, Orpheum, Big Cloud. I guess I should say another reason I started getting back into this is I've started, thanks to the YouTube algorithm, I encountered this one YouTuber named Doug, who makes these just insane videos. So he used to be a programmer, and he worked on Hearthstone and stuff. But instead now he uses his grounding in Python to make mods for games, and then he'll use his Twitch stream, like his Twitch chat, in order to like have just this aggregate of like 500 to 1,000 people manipulate his mods, and then he'll do challenges. So for instance, he'll go to Los Angeles or whatever, GTA 5, Los Santos, a game I super got to play because it's like, man, really does it just really captures, from the videos I've seen, it really captures the feeling of of what it's like in LA. Yeah, so no. Does Kirkby have a different name over here? I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Steve's Liquor. Over here is not North Highlands anymore. So like it has to be down here. Right? Man, what the hell? Okay, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, Doug, he he published this really interesting video lately, which got me thinking, right? Um, and this is not what the claim he was making. Like basically the point of the video is like, this is how you become a successful YouTuber. You gotta find like the two things you're naturally talented at, the things that you can do without any effort. Oh, there's Kima. Damn, okay. And once you do it, so Kima was to the north. Like once you find those two, oh my God, there's Kirkby. Okay. Jeez. Okay, so we're gonna go to the southeast along Kirkby, and we're gonna meet Willerga at Larchmont. What? Larchmont? Oh, it's over here. Okay. Return to start. Sick. Yeah, anyway, so Doug was talking about, like, this is how you be a YouTuber. And, like, the thing is, so he argues that you can only be good at two things. All right, Ferndale's up here. You can only be good at two things in that way. So if you want to distinguish yourself, and this is the only thing that matters in a creative endeavor, if you're seeking to make it a living, you need to, come on, Ferndale, where are you? I know it's up here. Just show yourself. I don't think it's that far south, though. Shoot. Yeah. So you find yourself. I'm going to just try to find the highway, I guess. And when you find yourself, find this aspect of you, you just have to do it over and over and over and over again till you get extremely good at it. And the more you make good content on YouTube, the more likely you are the more likely it is for it to be a matter of time before you receive the attention that you're due. And I'm not bringing this up necessarily because I'm like, oh, this is how I want to hack being a YouTuber or whatever. But just this notion that like, yeah, this individuation, right? This, when people make YouTube videos or they try to be content creators because they want to, if they try to be content creators because they want to be popular, they want to be paid to play games, uh, and all these other things. But they also like there's a sort of disconnect that happens because the real reasons why they want to be a YouTuber are not the same reasons why that they're claiming that they're engaged in the effort in the first place, and that's why it's so easy to become discouraged. Like you can't want to become popular. You can't want to become the person who everybody you can't seek validation and affirmation through through those kinds of things because it's not within your capacity to designate who you are. You have to want something else, something that is you, not something that is reflected and contingent and dependent on what other people want from you. And this, I think, comports well with my understanding of Heidegger's thoughts on this individuation. You know, like I feel like the healthy thing to do would be to hit this position of angst, to realize, why do I really want this? And from there to draw the conclusion that, you know, you might not want this for a reason that is good or that makes sense or that is achievable. The reason has to be unequivocally and irrepressibly you. And I think it's an important insight for people to constantly have. Uh, because it's so easy for us to fall out of the awareness that, we ought to be like that. We ought to be aware of who we really are with respect to all these things that influence and buffet us around inside the world. Man, I swear to God, Ferndale. I know it's up here. I know it's up here. I know it's up here because there was like an earthquake that was named after Ferndale. And it didn't have an epicenter in Ferndale. I know that Ferndale experienced I know that it has like a reputation for like for like a kind of hipster sort of thing. But like other than that, I can't seem to point to it on a map. So, I mean, we're already at 27 minutes, so I might just throw something down in the area and then let GeoGuessr teach me about what it means to be impatient. Ah. Okay, well. Cool. All right. So it's south of Eureka in Arcata. Okay, well, I guess. I'm now a tourist. Awesome. Breakdown. All right, so how did we do? Your Belinda, cool. Oof for San Diego. Yeah, whatever. For Selma. This was North Highlands, which is all right, and then Ferndale, which I identified but didn't have the patience to find. Well, okay, I guess that'll be it for now. Thanks for listening and joining along, and I'll see you all next time.